What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. We have a crisis with the golf swing. And that crisis is we're losing distance and we've lost some speed. So I need to figure out how to fix this because the scoring is trending in the right direction, but those two things, not good. Now, thankfully, I do have somebody who can fix this for me on my team, and that is Ryan Hawley. Ground Force Master, him and my coach Max, the dynamic duo that make all things better. Ryan is also the Ground Force coach for Nick Taylor, who, pretty solid. Unreal player, has done a lot. And so having somebody of that caliber in my camp who can help me diagnose this issue is very beneficial. So I'm going to kick it over to a little recap video Ryan made of our lesson. And then after, I'm going to hit some balls for you and show how I've been working on those things post that lesson.
I see some stuff with Gabe that is certainly a little bit different than it's been in the past. But I think kind of in an effort to, maybe gain some club head speed, maybe like straighten it out. I'm not really sure, but this is kind of like, I'm not in love with these leg positions, right? And when I look at the data, a couple of things like really jump out to me here. First off, we're gonna see Gabe kind of get his pressure going back, early backswing, which is good. It kind of like back and forths a little bit, so it's up and then down. I'm looking in this box here. Up and then down and then up and then down and then further down as he's starting his golf swing. So that pressure is accelerating backwards. So during this area of his golf swing, the most he's ever on that left foot is about 57%, and then it backs up, and then it doesn't really reach kind of a level that I'd be happy with at say 70% until right at impact. I typically like players to be around 70%, around here. And Gabe's over here at 48%. What that does is it causes now anything that's coming from the left foot to be late. So the left foot forces kind of correspond to the pressure shift to some degree, or at least they kind of should. So the verticals here are super late. He's going to apply max verticals at impact. He's going to apply max horizontal Y, that's force in this direction towards the camera. At 29%, kind of at P6 or just before. So just everything's a little bit late. Kind of where we got it to here, we're going to see that pressure shift just kind of go back, go for. There's still a little bit of a retrace there where it bounces back, but at least we're like getting heavier on that lead foot. We were at like 65% here, which I love. I just want to be able to now use that. I don't want that pressure to sneak back because I want to really use that earlier. So that one actually wasn't my favorite there. The ones that are the best are actually the ones where I'm behind you, Gabe, as we kind of discussed. Right here is a good one, good example of timing. So basically what we're doing here is I'm behind him, asking him to hit with his flank or the top part of his left ass cheek my hand. And I'm just giving this a little bit of guidance to rotate. And what we end up with when that happens is, lower force, more appropriately timed to some degree there. Right leg is twisted, everything is better here, and that pressure shift has gotten over a little bit heavier over here on the left, 62, 64%. Now, this isn't perfect, but it's heading in a better direction. I think there was a couple more. Too bad. So this is getting applied earlier, this max percentage body weight. He's not quite getting out of it in time, but it's still significantly better. The leg is twisting, the posture gets better, the pressure acceleration is happening a little bit cleaner. He's heavier over here for longer, and it looks very different around impact here. So impact to impact, posture looks better. He's coming at least down the mountain of this blue graph, and he's pushing through that shot and rotating the right leg. And that's really kind of what I'm after. Now, and me and Gabe talked about this, I don't need that foot to move, right? I want to hit more against a braced side than having it move. But if you're pushing hard enough and it moves, so be it. I'm not too worried about it as long as there's a strategy for the footwork. And that is getting that flank to go kind of up this direction and slightly back, and let that right leg twist. The twisting action of that right leg is helping you straighten it out as opposed to leaving it flexed for too long. So keep that moving in that direction. We also talked about the weak grip. I'm not a big fan of the weak grip. I am a big fan of what it creates, which is that more open club face. But I would accomplish that through externally rotating the the lead shoulder, and getting that humerus bone to go outward more. We talked about that, where the inside of the elbows are almost going to touch. I thought these swings were getting a lot better by the end of the day. There was a couple of really good ones with the verticals. So yeah, we're just starting to get those a little earlier, locating it before impact now, getting a little bit better look. It's not perfect yet, but it's certainly getting better, and that's kind of what I'm after, is just getting better bit by bit here.
Hope you guys enjoyed that little quick recap of the lesson. This is what I love about having someone like Ryan as part of the team and with the swing plates, and why I just think if you're trying to improve, it's just so vital. It's like a doctor trying to diagnose a condition without having the x-ray to double check to make sure that's what's going on. You know, that's the value of having Ryan there. Obviously, you know, my big issue, and this is something that has plagued me since I've started golf, is I have a problem of collapsing, right? I don't plant and turn and go. And so this collapse has reared its ugly head again because I've kind of found a bit of a swing that worked. And, you know, trying to hit that fade, you can hit a nice little smooth control fade with a really weak grip and collapsing the legs, and that's just not really going to go left on you. So for scoring wise, it's great, but I'm not optimized for the athletic capabilities of what I'm trying to pull off, right? And with all the work I'm putting in to my body and all these things, I got to be able to use that horsepower to my advantage and be able to attack the golf course more. And a big thing is, you know, you can't really attack anything from this position, right? There's no attack. What's really exciting and what we got to towards the end is being able to really feel that by this position in the golf swing, I am planted, and now I get to turn this and go, and extending this up, right? That feel almost felt like it unlocked something. I'll tell you, initially after the lesson, I was a bit like, oh man, this is gonna be a lot of work. I don't know if I could pull this off. Like, I don't know if my body's ready for this, but what was really cool, because of all the training I've been doing, I've actually been able to jump into it pretty quickly. And now being able to get to here and really extend, and I can feel the pull. It's like the first day of doing this at the range, the front of my hips felt so different. I never felt this feeling before. Absolutely wild. So, like, it's exciting now to be able to get a full turn, you know, really get that squat in there, but then boom. And as you guys can see from the video as well, like the structure of my body immediately gets better. That's the wild part about this too, is that just by fixing just a little thing in the feet, all of a sudden I've got better side bend, I have all this path to clear, and I can just rip. Just to give you another angle of structure here, right? So if we set up, right, as we turn, if I collapse, right, I'm here, you know, if I'm lucky, right? Versus if I plant, right, I'm here. There's so much more room. And like, I can hold my core here and just go, and I have so much more control now that I didn't realize I was actually lacking, right? Like, I think that's the other crazy part, is that I didn't factor in that, you know, because I was scoring well and hitting it decent, I didn't realize how, like, not athletic I was being. And now here, this just feels like so much more athletic, and I get to use all that stuff I've been doing in the gym. And the translation of it has actually been pretty cool. Here's an 8-iron that I hit at the range just now. And as you can see, fully planted, good to go, right? Like, that is much better. Send it to Ryan. He gave the stamp of approval. We're moving in the right direction, right? Now, the next thing is driver. Now, where I was having issues with driver and how this all connects, right, is, so imagine now you're collapsing with driver, which is leaking power, right? Because I'm a big vertical force guy. That's my superpower, right? That's where I get extra juice. If I'm not getting rid of that weight, it's not getting out to the club, and that's not able to get out there, right? With irons, you can kind of get away with it, but this is why I was having so many issues with the driver. So, on top of that, another issue I have is I was hanging back, right? So I'm leaking, and my head is all the way back here, right? So now I'm trying to, like, do, I don't know what, some long drive move that is horrific, which is why I could hit it high, but it kind of wasn't going, because how am I supposed to push and rotate in this back leg from here with a collapsed leg. That's just not going to work, right? So one thing we worked on is, imagine the ball's teed up here and kind of got my head more centered. And when I go back, right, I have to make sure I turn and I keep my head here, right? I have a bad tendency of wanting to kind of go all the way back here, collapse, and then I'm back and I'm trying to lift. So now the new driver swing is very much pulling here, right? Getting a nice big turn, staying wide as I squat down, and now I extend up, right? Keep my head here. And then what's cool is that the launch of the ball is created from the extension of getting this left shoulder up, right? That's what's creating the launch. The launch is not being created from being back here. And that was a big trap I fell into, right? I was creating launch artificially from hanging back and going this way, which on days when I could time it up, sure. But on bad days, that is going left of left or right of right. And that's not going to get me to my goal. So again, just nice big swing, keeping my head over the shoulder, right at the ball, and then firing and turning around the ball here, trying to keep myself centered. And then using the ground forces, the extension and everything, this shoulder, to create the launch and send it out there. Here's a little face-on angle of a driver I just hit at the range. This is already so much better than where I was. So the last thing that brings all this together is a change in the grip. And going in, this was my grip. Very, very weak, and I was doing the 10-finger thing, which I still think is pretty sick, but whatever. That's for another time. So we're going to move off this. Now, Ryan talks about in the video, the way to achieve, like you can kind of, again, cheat a fade by getting a really weak grip. But the way to do that with a stronger grip to get more power is obviously we're going to do interlock, but we're going to strengthen the left hand, but we're going to rotate the shoulder. I think it's external rotation of the shoulder. That'd be internal, external rotation. He's better expert than I am. So you externally rotate the shoulder, and so now you have this, and that leads to just more fade. I don't know the total mechanics behind that and how that all works, but that's going to lead to a fade. And so I found that keeping the right hand pretty weak, but strengthening the left hand has worked. I know we tried strengthening the right hand a little more. I don't know if I like that. It just doesn't feel right, and I can't really aim. I don't know where the ball is going. This has been almost like an instant, like I can play golf today. And I think that was one of my concerns after putting this fix into play, is I was just wondering how long it was going to take before I could play golf. And I've been able to play golf right away, which has been pretty awesome, because sometimes adding new stuff into your game can be terrifying, but this has been pretty great. So with that, it's time to go play some golf. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you on the next one.